Alright, peace and greetings, YouTubers. Alright, so Tamar Braxton, Calling All Lovers, the album. I said I would review this one as well, so let me jump into it. Side note, listen, I know I probably could have shaved a bit and put some juices and berries in this, but listen, I'm tired, so y'all just have to, you'll just have to ignore everything that this high quality, in-depth catch everything, including your blood cells camera catches. So as far as the album, I think it's a really well put together project. I think it's a good continuation of the Love and War project as far as transitioning from one project into the next. Overall, I think this is an album people should buy. If you're a really big fan of R&B and you're a big fan of love ballads and lots of high C over middle E notes and belting and all that, this is the album for you. Overall, I do personally actually like her. I actually like the Love and War album a little bit more. Even though I will say this album has better material, and I'll say that because I like Love and War a bit more just because I think as far as the sound, there was a bit more diversity as far as, or a balance between, mid-tempos and up-tempos and, all the ballads and the slow jams. This album is a little bit more mellow than the previous one. And, it's kind of whatever your taste is. I kind of always like a good balance. I love a good slow jam and a good melodic flow, but I also like to kind of shake my shoulder every now and then. And I mean, she does have the song Catfish, and there's another song, I forgot what it's called, it's on there though, that's kind of, doesn't make love to me. That's something that is, it's up tempo, which is cool. But this one's a little bit more focused on the ballads, and I guess that kind of goes with the theme of the album since it's Calling All Lovers. A lot of the songs, basically all the songs, are based around relationships. And so if that's what you're into, I don't know, your man didn't do you right or your woman didn't do you right and you feeling all some type of way about everything, just pop that album, you can kind of play for a little bit. There's a few songs on there. Or if you're just real happy in your relationship, you can play it too. See, it's universal. Tamar, she gave you a little bit of both. It's respectable that Tamar has a hand in her production as far as the writing, which makes the album a little bit more relatable. Because I will say that I still don't feel that we get all of Tamar with her albums. I feel like there's still a void that's missing. I can't figure out what it is. But I think what it is, I'd like to see her experiment a little bit more. I'd like to see her really branch out because I think she has a story to tell, but it's they kind of keep her in one bubble. And the reason why they keep her in the bubble is because she has such a strong voice that they'd rather keep all the focus on giving her all these songs where she can show off her range. And that's cool, but I just know that she has a story. Like, if you just really think about her entire background, and you go back to the days of the Braxtons back in like '89 when they had the girl group, and it's like, they had this record deal, and then out of nowhere, the label people are like, okay, well, you know what, we like y'all, but we like your oldest sister, Tony, a little bit more. So, yeah, we'll come back to y'all another time. We're going to take Tony, and you watch Tony blow up into just everything. And I mean, Tamar was a teenager at the time, but it's like for all of the 90s, she sang backup for Tony, or she was in school, or she did other things, but it's like she was fighting and clawing to get her foot in the door. And then, she had her album come out in 2000, and, it didn't do well at all. And it didn't help that Tony had an album out at the same time, so everybody wasn't man enough with Tony, and we all forgot about Tamar. And, so finally when Tamar finally gets her, opportunity again, because she had a few instances where she would sign and then would get dropped and get signed and get dropped. And it's like, she has a journey, so I would really like to see her, write about that and write about relationships, write about, even like, I guess when Vince was sick for that time period, there's women that have to deal with, when their husband, or even men that have to deal with when their wives or their husbands possibly, are, sickly and everything like that. Things like that. I think she has a story. I'm like, put it in a project and share it with everybody. People can learn from others. So that's kind of what I'd like to see her do. But I think right now, because this is only her third album, and most people look at this as her sophomore album because people just ignore the first one, even though it's actually really good. I think this is a safe album. It's a little too premature to start playing around and experimenting, especially in this day and age where nobody's selling records and the labels want to drop you for everything. But at the same time, it's kind of like, Tamar's all over the place as far as she's on like a million TV shows. I feel like she does get an advantage where she could kind of branch out a bit musically and explore different territories, and she'd be okay, even if it didn't sell that well. But overall, my highlights on the album, I like Catfish, I like Simple Things, I like the song Raise the Bar, I like Never, and I think Circles is another one I really like. I think it's good, I like the way that the album flows. They're really good with the track listing and making sure the album flows, because some people have albums and it's like, if you would have just rearranged the songs differently, the album would flow better, but it's like they just put all the songs, like, how some people, they'll just put all the singles at the beginning of the album, and then you just, you don't even make it through halfway through because the rest of the album's usually terrible. You don't really have that issue with this album. There's a good balance of a little bit of everything. If you're a big head on vocals and high notes and all of that all day, this is the album for you. I would like to see them also try to experiment with her a little bit more with her vocal. I think because she has such a high range, they always write and produce all her songs at the highest of her range. She has a good middle and a good bottom, and I'm like, let her play with that a little bit more. They keep her in this same position where I feel like she records a lot of the songs at the top of her range, and she's always singing up to the rafters. And sometimes if you're not in the mood to hear that all the time and you want something a little bit more mellow, it's harder to find that with some of her songs. But I do think Catfish is an example of a song where she kind of balances it out a bit. So, and it's just, as an entertainer and as an artist, I think you want that versatility. You want to be able to, or you want people to kind of go and look at your catalog as a mix of both. I think there's some artists that do a great job of having like up tempos and mid tempos, and even with the vocals you can get a little bit of everything. If you're a powerhouse vocalist like Tamar, that's great, but I feel like sometimes it's okay to give your audience a hint of something and make them want more rather than just throwing it all in their face up front all the time. But that's just my opinion. But overall, buy the album. It's great. And honestly, R&B is going through it. Please buy the album. Just buy the album, please. I think it's worth the money. You know what pisses me off too? I should have bought the album physically because I bought it digitally. So I was like, I had to go on Wikipedia to freaking figure out who wrote what, who produced what, and who did this. Because iTunes don't want to give you anything. Goodness. Never mind, I'm talking too long. Anyway, I think the album's a great album. Check it out if you're a big R&B head. This is a really good album to add to your collection. I think this is a great continuation into the catalog that Tamar is putting out. So I'd say buy the album for the millionth time. And yeah, I'm out. Subscribe. Also, by the way, if there's any other albums that have come out that I don't know about other than Janet's, I don't think anything else came out on October 2nd that was worth noting. But yeah, just send a request. Maybe I'll do a review if I bought it. All right, I'm out.